Y'all have seen the Amazon rape vans that drive around?
They've just got the one Amazon A.
They're like this. Yeah, no, they don't have anything on them.
Oh, really?
They're solid white vans.
You said van. Okay. I was trying to figure out how a rape fan would look.
No. Okay.
It spins.
I've seen some of the Amazon vans. They have the giant Amazon A on like one door.
They're phasing those out because they kept getting robbed.
No shit.
Yeah, people would follow them in neighborhoods and jump them.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it makes sense. They see a giant Amazon logo. It's like, there's a bunch of cool shit in there.
$20 says the Trials players fucked it up for them.
Yep. Goddamn Trials players. That's why they had to nerf the Amazon rape van.
You know, they should have made them all like the Avengers logo. No one would fuck with that.
If Hulk fucking busts out the back.
99% chance, just an Amazon van, but one of them has the Hulk.
They always freak me out, though, because they're these little vans, and they'll just pull up and sit outside of a house for like 20 minutes sometimes.
Oh, it's the little Ford Transits, like the little itty-bitty fuckers?
Yeah, they're usually pretty small.
Okay.
And they just pull up in front of a house and then sit there for like 20 minutes, and every time you're wondering, that's either Amazon or a murderer.
Or
I can't
FBI.
tell. No, FBI has a decent-sized van. These are like tiny-ass vans.
See, this is making me... The horrible person inside is now making me want to...
Why did you go there? Why did your brain go that far? Why does your brain not have its own limits? God damn it.
You know why? Because his brain is desynced.
It is a little.
God damn it. We had a thing we could have started on.
What, rape vans?
Fuck it. This is episode 23 of The Sync. We're starting with... Yeah, it would have been rape vans, and then you took it one step too far, and then it was
always
iffy.
take it one step too far. Always.
You took it... You made a plan. You put steps involved. I was speaking in general terms. God damn it.
So, what about the rape vans?
They're funny. The whole point was they were just funny because they're Amazon rape vans.
He didn't get it.
He did. Clearly, he designed steps.
So obviously you have some pedophile-ish thoughts that need to be
What?
fixed.
No, what's
Fuck
worse
no.
is he has
I had
thoughts of
about
setting
making-
people up
Yeah.
as pedophiles.
Of being a
So we
terrible
need to get
person.
him before he gets us. That's kind of where I'm going.
Essentially, he went and looked at the pedophile list and thought, that's too short.
What, you mean the Game Attack logo?
The pedophile list. I didn't refer to any logo.
I didn't actually do it.
Yet.
I should specify more sexual offender list, but whatever. You could probably sort by pedophile, right? They have a sorting algorithm.
Yep.
Because that's a thing.
God.
Can you imagine the person who had to work on that algorithm?
I was going to say, could you imagine just like the drop-down box for that? Do you want pedophiliism, necrophiliism? How's about some bestiality?
Please, it can't be a drop-down box. It's got to sort by multiple criteria. It's check boxes. Learn your databasing.
Jesus Christ.
Someone went to school, got a degree, and the government said, hey, we want your help. And they said, oh, awesome, government work? This is at least going to take care of something. I don't know. Then he gets in there, it's like, hey, we need you to sort sexual offenders by the degree of offense. Fuck me.
And I bet you he got paid pretty well for it.
It's the government. He did not.
Hey, at least he probably gets some really good stories out of having to read the notes section of that list.
You ever think you think he found any of his friends on that list? Or he was like looking for people he knew?
Friends, he
on
found
that list?
family.
Yeah, I mean, it is a publicly available list. You can go check and investigate. Just make sure. Cousin Willie, why are you on this list?
He's from Georgia.
We started this episode, by the way.
Yeah, it's episode 23, I think.
It is. I already said it.
Okay. I'm Steve.
Keep up.
I'm Skyler.
We haven't introduced ourselves in multiple weeks.
No, that's your fault.
Oh, I don't give a fuck.
That's Fred. He don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
We're
Speaking
still
of not giving a fuck,
we're still -1 Daniel. He gives multiple fucks.
he'll be back later. So April Fool's is a thing, and I hate it.
Ugh.
I'm gonna start
I know.
with that. I'm gonna open up hot.
I
I
know.
hate April
You
Fool's Day.
You gotta just run out the gate. You can't just.
No, I'm not slipping in. I'm not easing in. I'm
You
not.
can't splash around in the shallow end. We
I'm
gotta
just-
just cannonball straight for the deep end with sharks.
Just
Oh, yeah.
hard and dry.
I'm aiming to kill those sharks with my cannonball. That's
Okay.
what's happening. April Fool's sucks. So
Except for when it doesn't.
and I've got tiers here of various things that happen on April Fool's Day.
Okay.
The worst things, the absolute worst things, good stuff gets announced as jokes.
Sure.
For instance, did y'all see the AMC's Grand Theft Auto series?
Yep.
Yeah.
By the makers of Breaking Bad?
Yes.
As soon as I saw that, I thought, that's fucking fake, but now I want it so bad. They even had Stephen Ogg do the narration as Trevor.
But they've had good things come out of those before where people will make an April Fool's joke that's so successful, they run with it.
It happens very rarely. The par for the course is people make a joke and it stays a joke and people just get pissed that that was a joke and not real. And I hate that.
There were a handful of members of our little group that were swearing up and down that no, it's real, it's real.
Yeah, members.
What?
This is another part of April Fool's. There are sometimes just a bunch of stupid jokes. Like the Razor Siso.
It's still up on the website.
It's a joke.
Yeah, that was
I mean, the whole trailer was ridiculous.
Nah.
It's a robot AI that sits next to your computer and basically coaches you as you play games. One of the quotes, I didn't even write down the quote. It was something like, Razor Siso looks through your BS and analyzes your actual skill level or something like that.
It reminds me a lot of, and I actually enjoyed these. Back when I played WoW, one of the April Fool's jokes they did was Clipper, which was a little, you remember Clippy for Microsoft Word?
Yeah.
It was basically that for WoW, but it would cover your entire screen, and it would give you information on how to do what you're doing.
That's awesome.
Wait, was that the little paperclip guy that would hang out in the bottom corner of your screen?
Yes,
Yeah,
except
Clippy.
Clipper was a
Okay.
little crab, but they came with a plugin to make him the paperclip. And that was their April Fool's joke, which was great.
Yeah, see, sometimes people do some really cool shit for April Fools, which is tier 3. I don't know why I decided to number them all of a sudden. Google Maps lets you play Miss Pac-Man
I did play Miss
on
Pac.
the streets.
It was
Awesome.
actually available for I think it just ended on Monday.
I don't know. I know it's available for a little
I was
bit.
playing it at work on Monday. I was like, hey, this is fun.
I think it was actually available like all the way up till yesterday. I could have swore I still saw it.
I don't know.
Yeah, generally that's the tech or gaming industry that'll do actual cool stuff and just have them as little mini events for a day or so.
So here's my question, though. What do you think? 2 years, 3 years? How long do we have to wait for Pac-Man Go now?
Pac-Man Go?
That's how Pokemon Go got started. It was an April Fool's joke for Google Maps.
It was. I don't think that's how it got started. I'm pretty sure that was just an idea and there was another person saying, hey, I have a similar idea.
Same guys.
I don't think that's true.
Same guys.
I don't believe you, but I don't know.
The guy who basically made Google Maps made Pokemon Go.
I feel like you are April Foolsing me right now.
I am not. I am April.
Cue the bullshit detector right here.
I am April 6ing you right
Where
now.
is my razor size so he will analyze your BS?
No, I'm serious. That's how Pokemon Go became a thing.
I don't believe that I don't believe it at all, but you were so adamant about it that I don't know now.
I don't
He's
care.
whenever he's this adamant, he's bullshitting you. I've learned that.
I'm not bullshitting.
No, it's like half and half.
No, he's too confident for himself. Whenever he's this confident, he's trying to bullshit you.
Whenever I'm this confident, I'm either bullshitting or I know I'm right because I have facts. So
Yeah.
either way,
All
you're
right,
screwed.
it's a
Where
half
are your
and half.
facts?
Let's pull it up.
Find me facts. Find me web pages.
Okay, fine. I'll
Better yet,
get back to you with the interwebs.
you'll find it. Give it to me after this episode because I'm gonna put it in the show.
Yeah.
With the bullshit meter.
But another good thing happened on April Fool. Well, I guess you won't care.
What, the Rooster Teeth stuff?
Nope.
No, though they always do that because their anniversary is April
Is
1st.
April 1st.
Yeah.
I knew that.
No, they released the first episode of Rick and Morty season 3.
Just out of nowhere.
Which was amazing. And in fact, someone had called him out on it because it hadn't been released yet. And someone was tweeting Dan Harmon, one of the creators of the show, was tweeting him saying, you know, it'd be a really cool joke if you released an episode today, but you would never do that because you're not ready for it. He goes, want to bet? And then later that day, they had an episode out. It was awesome.
It was a good episode. I mean, it
was a fantastic episode and got me pumped for season 3.
But see, here's the annoying thing.
So wait, they just gave you one episode?
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't continue until summer.
Yeah, and they announced when it's going to continue, which no one knew the release date for the season anyway.
Sure.
So
It was originally supposed to start in last month. Was when they originally were aiming for starting season 3.
oh, I've heard all the way back to supposed to start in January, supposed to start in March, whatever. It's jumped all number of times. So essentially, their April Fool's joke was, here's an announcement date for Rick and Morty season 3. Oh yeah, and here's the first episode. Fuck yes.
So are they going to repeat the first episode later this summer, or?
Probably.
Probably, but here's the other thing. Have you heard the theories going around that this isn't the first episode?
Well,
that
before
they're
we-
actually going to just start it on another episode and say that this one was the April Fool's joke.
That could be a thing. But I wanted to get into how they delivered this was straight up Rick and Morty. It was delivered in a looped stream that went on all day long. It was just that episode looped for 24 hours. That's how they revealed. But you cannot fast forward and you can't go back. So whenever you hop in is whenever you are in the episode. And then after that, the next day, they marathoned all the episodes in a single stream, all episodes of Rick and Morty, and then played that episode again at the end, which ended up airing at like midnight.
Huh. Yeah,
Classic Rick and Morty.
I've noticed that Twitch has been doing that a lot lately. They've been streaming a lot of TV shows.
Oh, it wasn't on Twitch. It was on
Okay.
Adult Swim's own streaming thing.
Yeah, I've noticed that. I know on Twitch, because that's where I go, that a lot of people have been streaming like just TV shows. Like they just when Power Rangers came out, Twitch was hosting somebody who was streaming every single episode of Power Rangers. Ever.
Yeah, usually it's the people who own the rights to it will do the stream. They did that with Bob Ross. They had Endless Bob Ross for a couple months, which was amazing, by the way. If you never stopped into that chat, that was glorious.
There was a lot of joy about painting.
There was a lot of excitement about trees. That was a fun one. Yeah, they've started doing more things like that, which I'm up for. Twitch shouldn't just be a gaming platform.
No.
But
It is
rights is kind of an issue.
It is a huge news outlet, though.
Yeah, I mean, I know there's a lot of talk shows on there.
There's a lot of talk shows on there. But I do want to take a moment, just real quick, before we jump into any more gaming stuff. We did lose somebody today. Don Rickles died at the age of 90.
That's sad.
I heard about this, and I cannot place a face to a name.
I actually don't remember who he is, and I don't want to say that.
Jewish comedian. Kind of ran around with Frank Sinatra.
I think I know who you're
Dean
talking
Martin.
about.
Let me see if I can pull up a picture real quick. Hang
Oh, yeah.
Don
Don't
Rickles.
worry. In the episode, I'll have a picture pulled
Okay.
up.
I believe he was in Caddyshack, if I'm not mistaken. No, that was somebody else.
I don't. No, he wasn't in Caddyshack.
Okay.
He was in Casino.
Okay. Yeah, he was
Toy
just
Story.
he was. I watched a whole bunch of the roasts that he did for like Reagan and Frank Sinatra and stuff like that, and he was a very, very funny guy.
Yeah, I remember they call him the equal opportunist.
Oh, he made fun of
Comedian.
everybody.
Yeah.
He didn't care. He made fun of everybody. He was funny. He was great, but he died. I think he finally went into kidney failure early this morning.
Yeah.
So I mean,
I mean,
he was 90.
It's not like
Yeah, it was like, this wasn't a big shocker, but it's sad to see somebody that funny.
scarier news.
The Undertaker retired?
I don't give a fuck about Undertaker. Stan Lee canceled what was supposed to be his last public appearance at Comic-Con for health reasons.
Really?
Yeah.
You think we're
And I know
finally
that-
moving to the point where he's no longer going to be making cameos?
You bite your tongue.
Yeah, a lot of people were flipping out about that. Like, oh shit, nothing better happened.
He is like 94 or something like
I
that.
think he's 77.
No. Hang on.
This is the Google time. It's going to be quiet for a moment.
Speaking of Google time, if you would, kind sir, while you're pulling that up, I found links. I found facts.
Oh, did you?
Yes.
Oh, wow, he is 94.
Yeah, there he is. December 28th, 1922. He's old.
You know there's a Google, right? Like, I literally pulled up Chrome, typed Stan Lee. Boom. Age.
It's right there, too.
I know. I just got it first.
Well, everything's
Yes!
not a competition, Kelly.
It can be.
It's not a competition. But if it were, Fred would be winning.
I have to take every moment I can to criticize your Google searching.
Fred's about to lose because apparently Skyler's got a link.
Scroll down. It's like after the first picture. We trust CNBC. They're reputable, right?
Do we?
They're liberal.
I thought they were fake news.
Do you want me to find more news?
They're liberal.
I thought they were fake news.
How the mastermind behind Pokemon Go got his start.
So keep going down. And next paragraph. Right there. Wrong paragraph. Sorry, I can't really see it from this angle.
It all started when Google became interested in one of his startups, a geospiral data company called Keyhole. And led to Google Earth and Google Maps, but he remained an entrepreneur at heart. He later launched a gaming startup in 2011 within Google called Niantic.
Yep. So there you go. Google Earth, Google Maps.
What?
No, he worked on Google Earth and Google Maps.
Yeah. He was one of the visionary leads behind it.
Yeah, the point wasn't that Google Maps led to Pokemon Go. It was that a Pokemon April Fool's joke on Google Maps led to Pokemon Go.
Right.
That was never a
That's
thing.
not-
That just says that he worked for Google in the Maps.
No, I actually remember the Pokemon on Google Maps thing, but I don't think that was him.
He worked on the team.
I don't know if he specifically did, but whether or not Google Maps led to Pokemon Go in one way or another.
Yeah, he led Google Earth and Google Maps, but he remained an entrepreneur. He later launched a gaming startup within Google. Yeah, Google acquired Keyhole.
Which Keyhole was essentially just his company, probably just bought him for an algorithm that he was using.
Yeah, so
Probably. Or an API.
So he started Niantic,
Yes.
and he worked for Google Maps and Google Earth.
And that's the only correlation I'm seeing right now.
It doesn't say that they did a Pokemon April Fool's joke like they did for Pac-Man.
They did do a Pokemon April Fool's joke. I do remember that happening. I just don't think it led to Pokemon Go. I don't think it had any correlation to Pokemon Go.
That just supports that that's how he started.
You tried. It's okay. It was a good attempt.
And cue Pac-Man noise. Whoa, 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 whoa.
What's even funnier, Skyler, is at this... What? Hold on. What were we talking about?
Syncing video to audio. Don Rickles. 1, 2, 3. Shit, fuck.
Son of a bitch. Shit,
Shut up.
fuck, son of a bitch.
Syncing video to audio. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Resyncing. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. There.
Okay.
It's like evil
One of
binary.
those will work.
One of those will work. I synced a lot. I made a
There's-
boo-boo.
It's a sinking ship is what it is.
But yeah, Don Rickles.
Is that
Stan
what
Lee.
That's not what we were talking about.
Yeah, we were talking
I
about
mentioned Stan Lee.
Stan Lee being old.
And then Skyler brought up his false fact.
No, that didn't happen.
It's in there.
You're
It's
over
staying.
2.
Nope, we lost. We had recording difficulties. It was lost. We're so sorry.
It's there.
It's there. You're 0 for 2.
So what are they going to do for the Stan Lee cameos when he's gone?
CGI.
You think they'll CGI
I mean, look
it?
at Star Wars.
Yeah, they'll CGI him. If they can do Governor Tarkin that way, they'll do Stan Lee.
See, I was thinking they might transition more to like posters and stuff like that. Because that's how they actually put him in like Iron Fist.
Where was he in Iron Fist?
He's a
I thought he
poster.
actually had a cameo.
I didn't see if he had a physical cameo, I didn't see it. There's a scene where there's like a time poster on a wall and it's him.
I do remember that. Okay, maybe that's the cameo I'm thinking of.
So you think they'll just start transitioning to like subtle things like that?
No. They'll keep
For the
him in.
movies, they'd have something bigger.
Yeah.
Maybe like old clips of him on like an interview or something.
Maybe.
Like they would take pre-recorded stuff that he's already got.
You think they just
from his-
recorded like hundreds in advance to put him in?
What if they've recorded all of his cameos already? They've got it all laid out between now and like 2030.
Possibly.
That'd be awesome.
Well, because I know he made a cameo appearance in Big Hero 6.
An animated one, yeah.
Yeah.
No, he was he still spoke in it though.
Right, but
Right.
it was
Post-
an animated him.
Yeah, but post credits, he actually had a speaking role.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they could keep doing that for at least Big Hero 6.
Yeah, for its inevitable sequel. I'm thinking more like Marvel.
Well, yeah.
The rest of Marvel.
You think Big Hero 6 is going to get a sequel?
It definitely is. It's already
Absolutely.
been announced.
Oh, it's already been announced?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I didn't know that.
D23 2 months ago?
Oh,
It
okay.
didn't get announced.
I
There.
thought that it was going to spin off into like a TV show.
No, it's been confirmed though that they're doing a sequel.
I'm not surprised. I don't think it's been officially announced. Kind of like we knew Finding Dory was coming for a very fucking long time.
Well, Disney came out and said that they were going to do a sequel. Very early on, shortly after Finding Nemo.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Is we knew it was coming. We just didn't have an announcement until a couple of years before it came out. I don't think they've announced it. Anyway, we're getting sidetracked. What were we going to talk about?
Destiny and Microsoft.
All
We're on
right.
April Fools.
We were on it. Well, I was done with April Fools.
Okay.
Organized.
So do we want to get the tiny little Microsoft announcement out of the way?
Tiny.
I'd actually rather talk Destiny.
Tiny.
Oh, okay.
Let's hop into Destiny because I want the rest of this to be Scorpio. Oops, spoiled what we're going to talk about.
Tiny.
Teaser.
I think that was an April Fool's joke.
Teaser.
Teaser.
So it's what, week 2 of Age of Triumph. I know we're talking Destiny again. Shut up. So this week was Vault of Glass that we ran through.
So I know your opinion on it, Steve.
The subtle growl didn't give it away.
It's one of my favorite raids. At least humor me on
And
it.
you know what? You are entitled to your opinion. But your opinion is your own.
I will start with, these are the toughest challenges in all of Destiny.
Yeah.
Period.
Hands down. They make Oryx look like a fucking cupcake walk.
They make
They make
Oryx look like a
Crota look like a
walk.
cupcake walk. With
What-
2 squares.
What I hate is they're very, very difficult, but well, I guess Templar is kind of creative. You have to get very creative with that. For Atheon, though, it's not interesting.
It requires you to have played Vault of Glass enough times or do the extensive research into watching and looking up how to do the
requires
challenge.
knowledge of the fight.
To be fair, that actually the Crota challenge was the same way. You had to know how to run the sword. If you didn't know how to run the sword, then you had to learn it.
Yeah, but
just like we're having to learn
technically-
oracles.
You could
Atheon's
say
a
that
lo-
for all of them.
Yeah, Atheon's a lot different though because you have to go in and kill the oracles. If you don't know where the oracles are, like we've experienced, it's very frustrating.
Well, that's
But
just
if you
raid.
don't-
I mean, doing it normally, if you don't know where the oracles are, you're just screwed. You just have more time to figure it out.
Yeah, and it's like with the sword and Crota, you have to have people who know how to do it or have people who learn to do it in that version of the raid.
Or like
not
Axis.
warlocks.
You have to know the
I mean,
Axis
they
fight.
can do it. Skyler did it as a warlock.
Well, good for Skyler. Does he want a fucking cookie?
I would
Probably.
love a cookie. Do you have a cookie?
Yes, I do, and you don't get one.
Oh.
Now
He
shut up,
just-
sit in your corner.
He's just
I
mad
am in
because
a
he can't
corner.
warlock jump after 2 years of playing as a warlock.
You
I
can
mean-
warlock jump.
I can warlock jump. I
You just
can
can't warlock land.
Yeah,
Oh, warlock.
that's the thing. I can jump and I can glide. The landing is iffy. That's what frustrates me. It's just, you know what? It's just I don't enjoy running the relics. I don't.
There are a lot of pressure in certain senses.
I don't enjoy it. Bottom line, you can't convince me otherwise.
Okay.
I will say,
That's fine.
Atheon.
Just want to point out, you did volunteer.
I did volunteer because we had no other option.
I mean, I was ready to volunteer.
When I went in with my little brother, one of our other buddies starts with an S, and me, which one of the three of us would have volunteered to taking it?
Spiny.
He didn't
will
want to.
eventually
I mean,
volunteer.
he did. He eventually did. He took it when Will, him, and I would go in. He would grab it.
Oh.
Big thing, I didn't want to grab it because I was a Bubble Titan, and in case Will died, I didn't want to be stuck with the relic.
Yeah.
But,
We're getting very technical talk here.
yeah, we haven't even talked about what's going on.
So
Sorry.
I will say, I'll agree, Atheon comes across as the hardest challenge, and he might wind up being the hardest challenge, but I like why it's the hardest challenge. Because the hard thing about Atheon isn't some, like, extreme test of skill. It isn't some just, like, maddening, you have to be perfect. It's only one thing: communication. It's just a test of your ability to work as a group. And I love that as the final challenge.
That's pretty good. I like that aspect of it.
I disagree. It's a testament of my patience, which apparently I have none.
No.
Well, there's
This
an
is well
exotic for
documented.
that. Patience and time.
Did
Destiny
he just do
jokes.
that? Did he just do the thing?
I just did the thing. Deal with it.
So outside of the challenges, because we'll have a lot more to say, I'm sure, but outside of the challenges, the raid itself, being able to run it normally, which I've never run Vault of Glass without cheesing through bosses or without cheesing through sections. Being able to run through it legitimately is a lot of fun.
Yeah, you can see why I say it's some of the most like rewarding fights.
Yeah, I still don't think it's the best raid. I don't agree with you in that
I'm
area.
gonna say Axis is the best raid, to be honest.
I definitely don't agree with you there, but
I'm
we'll
not
get
up
into that in
there.
2 weeks.
Oryx, Crota, Axis, Vault of Glass.
I just have too much bad blood with Crota, and it was still there. It wasn't as much bad blood, but there was still bad blood there.
Well,
It is still very frustrating.
There's just too many things that can go wrong. Too much random, too much...
there's so much random that can happen in Vault of Glass.
Yeah, there's a lot of random involved. Well, especially challenge-wise, there's a lot of random.
Well, even when the shield bearer can still get fucked up by the hobgoblins. You can have.
There's still stuff that can happen.
There's random that can happen technically in all the raids, especially the random in Axis.
What gets me is the number of glitches in Crota that can occur, or the number of little things that just, poor design-wise, can just fuck you over and there's not much you can really do about it. Just like the sword bearer piecing out
Well,
to who knows where.
he just doesn't want to play. He just doesn't want to play with you anymore. That's
Or-
not your fault. That's just he's bored and he's tired.
Or that occasionally an unkillable enemy will just wander up to where everyone is standing and start killing them.
All right, so Crota
Hey,
just wants to
guys.
come say hi and give you a hug.
I'm talking the stupid gatekeeper.
Hug him. Okay, well,
Oh,
yeah,
that was weird.
the gatekeeper is lonely down there. Do you guys not understand that? You stand in a hidey hole all the time when nobody comes see you.
Look, you
Isn't
know
that
we
what
didn't
all
have?
the rocket people do?
What?
We haven't had
Stand in a
Atheon
hidey
yet.
hole. Shut up. Stand in a hidey hole. Sorry, Skyler. Stand in a hidey hole and nothing ever comes up to say hi.
No, we stayed high. We stood on a ledge, not in a hidey hole.
You stand in a corner grouped together, hiding behind things.
Yeah, you're
I'd
in
call
a
that a
hidey
hidey hole.
Yeah, but we come say hi to the thrall. We go say hi to the ogres.
I will say this: as of right now, we haven't
Fair.
had Atheon jump off a bridge to come chase us down. We had Crota do that.
That was pretty funny. Crota jumping off the bridge.
That was awesome.
He jumped off the bridge and then warped up. But I do see that second run through when we ran through our ults last night. We did the Templar challenge.
Which took some figuring out, but now that we've got it figured out, is actually a lot of fun.
Yes.
Because I haven't done the running.
I do not look forward to teaching someone else how to run that relic.
Oh,
'cause
I
it
will
is-
volunteer as tribute for that, by the way.
I'm sorry, but you're going to be the runner for that for a while.
I mean, you know...
I don't think it'll be as bad. It's just I gotta teach someone how to survive.
Out of
'Cause that's
anyone
all
in
it
our
is.
group, you know I'm going to be that second place in terms of that running.
Oh, so Evan actually is a pretty good relic runner.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Well, then maybe he can
Well,
take
because
it.
remember, he was the other one that ran sword.
Yeah, he did run sword. He was very good with sword. Fuck it, he can be number 2.
That just holy cow! The strategy we wound up deciding on was that was not much fun for the relic runner.
No, but it's super easy for everybody else.
Oh, it's super easy for the other 5. I just have to dodge hell and high water.
There is a lot of randomness to what we came up with. But I guess that from reading through Reddit, that seems to be the general consensus. There's a lot of randomness regardless
It's
of your
adaptability.
strategy.
I mean, it's the same thing that I love with Axis. It tests your adaptability.
Oh, God, yes. Most definitely. I will agree to that.
Which is actually another part that I love about the Atheon challenge is it's all about adapting because you can't just say I'm always going to be this oracle.
Yeah,
'cause
Will
it doesn't
tried
always
that.
work
It didn't
that way.
work.
That's the thing is it puts work on every member of the team. That's why I feel like it's so rewarding is because it doesn't feel like you just one person kind of did everything while the other 5 sat there and shot Galahorns when you say fire. It was more everyone earned their part on that raid team.
Yeah. That's why I remember at one point you said Crota was nowhere near as frustrating as Atheon. That's because you didn't do the sword. Rockets.
I did it a couple of times and then did the exact same thing. Fuck you all. I'm out. I quit.
Yeah.
I'm not doing this shit.
Yeah. There were people who had to still do the sword, though. Everyone who does rockets, super easy. Crota is the best fight ever because all you do is walk out and aim, and you're ready to go. Worst case is you're a golden gun, you got to shoot the oversoul.
No, worst case is you forget your taiko knot and miss.
Hey, shut up.
Fred, you get your taiko knot?
Fight starts. Look, Templar's just sitting perfectly still. One rocket just off into the distance.
Look, I have an explanation. I have a reason. I can explain that.
Sure.
So, the rockets I had were the Volta Glass rockets, the Hazon, whatever.
He's in Vengeance.
Yeah. And they have clusters. So my thought was I need to hit the top because I'd hit them dead on and the clusters would just fall to the ground and miss and not do anything.
They still do stuff.
It doesn't. Well, no damage was popping up.
Oh.
So my thought was, okay, if I hit the top, which he has 2 horns that come up and they're pretty big, but they are horns, so they make a field goal.
Fred made a field goal.
And I made a field goal.
Well, you got 2 points, but you did no damage.
Field goals are technically worth 1 point.
Yeah, I got 1 point.
Unless they kick it before getting the touchdown.
That's true.
That's a touchback, not a field goal. I know sports.
That's the extent of my football knowledge. I don't know shit about it.
Should we get our sports aficionado in here and she can explain it to us?
I'm good.
One guy has the ball, a bunch of people help the guy with the ball, and a bunch of people try and get the ball.
We call
sports.
We call those behemoths.
But yeah, it wasn't my fault. I was trying to aim high and, there's a hole.
See, all of that would have been corrected if you just stood up and yelled goal.
That would have been amazing.
That would have been fantastic.
I didn't think it at the time, and our buddy had the perfect response, I felt, so
yeah,
it worked. Yeah, the raid is pretty fun. I did not expect to enjoy kicking the shit out of Gorgons as much as I did.
It's so satisfying. Just get that guy.
It was essentially wait around a corner until a guy comes up, and then everyone just bum rushes him with swords, goes nuts. It is hilarious. We essentially mug the shit out of 11 Gorgons.
Yep, it's definitely... I wouldn't want to do it every raid run, but it's so great that you get to do it at least once.
Yeah.
What?
Oh, you sounded like you were trying to say something.
I had a thought. Oh, I do want to... No, fuck it. Never mind.
All right.
Now you just got me curious.
No, you don't get to know.
Nah, stop caring.
Thanks, Fred. Love you too.
Yeah. I will say rewards from this raid, not as generous as Crota.
Oh, God, no.
2 runs, and I've only gotten 2 of the exotics. 3 technically with Mythoclast, but
to be
remember
fair,
2 of the
you get
primary.
the exotics from the challenge mode.
Right. And
that's true. We are only doing
challenges.
half. So never mind. It's about on par.
Yeah, I was going to say, we've been getting a lot of good loot.
I agree with the original sentiment. With Crota, I got armor and I got guns. Volta Glass, I only got fucking guns with my Warlock.
Well, that's just RNG.
With 2 runs, I've gotten the exact same number of armor pieces from Volta Glass as I did from Crota with the 5 or 6 runs we did. I only got... I got 2 pieces of armor from Volta Glass. Or from Crota. And I've already gotten 2 pieces of armor from Volta Glass.
Yeah, RNG is going to suck no matter what. It is kind of a little annoying that certain drops can just be engrams.
Yeah.
Though, I'm pretty sure any of the big drop points, like the bosses, will give you armor or guns. The only ones that can give just engrams are the ones that happen really frequently.
Yeah.
So, you're more likely to get the little drops.
I'm just... you know what? I'm still excited for Oryx next week. I think I am the most excited to go back and run that one.
I'm excited for all of them. I just feel like I've run Oryx so much.
We did. We ran Oryx a shit ton. We were in the challenge mode a shit ton. We know where all the secret chests are.
Do we?
For Oryx? Yes, we do.
There's 7... Oh, in Oryx. I thought you meant in Volta Glass. Because we haven't gotten all the secret chests yet in any of our runs. Because there's 7.
I'm confused because the extra secret chest that we're missing is the one that you used to get for doing the Templar challenge.
We haven't gone down the main staircase yet.
I did. I didn't see it. And it was always in that hidey hole hallway.
I was kind of disappointed by that because I didn't feel like we got very many of the secret chests.
We hit all the ones that I know of.
Oh.
Yeah, because there's the opening door. I think there's not 7 secret chests. I think there's 7 chests total.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean.
So we got
7
opening
chests.
door, the alternative entrance pathway,
which is the new chest.
which is the new chest. You've got the Spirit Bloom chest,
Yeah.
You've got
that bonus chest.
You've got the first chest, which is that one that we always went to down the rabbit hole.
You have the side path chest from after the Templar.
Yeah.
Which is a really weird way of explaining that.
And then you've got that one where if you get seen,
right, you have
you're
basically
busted.
the secret room chest, and then you have the one that's hidden in the Gorgon.
The Gorgon,
maze.
the Gorgon alertness chest, and then
That's the last secret chest.
so
yeah,
we're
and
missing
there's
two.
supposed to be 7.
We're missing 2.
I don't know where the other two are.
We're gonna have to go back through again.
Are there monitors? Did they put fucking monitors in Vault of Glass?
That would be amazing.
You can finally go through that portal at the end.
Yeah.
That was the rumor forever.
So back to drops though. Holy shit, Fatebringer has actually lived up to the hype.
I told you.
It's
such a good gun.
I did not expect this gun to be as good as you were talking. Sorry, Steve, I know you're not a big fan, but I just felt the need to mention this. My Titan now has an Ace of Spades.
To be fair, I found a gun from Vault of Glass that I really love.
There you go.
The Praetus Timepiece
Good gun.
is by far my favorite fucking pulse rifle, and possibly one of my top 3 favorite guns in Destiny.
VOG
There you go.
had just like some really solid weapons. I mean, they were just really well balanced, really good perks. Have you gotten Vision of Confluence yet?
Is that the scout rifle?
It's the scout rifle, but it has a perk that basically makes it an auto rifle.
Yes, I have that one. It's fully upgraded. I'm going to use it on one of our next runs.
That's a fun one too. If you like Timepiece, you'll probably like that as well.
To be fair, I am still using Fatebringer. I have it on my Hunter. I am using it. I'm trying to get it maxed out so I can see what the hype is around it.
With all the perks, the big thing is it's fun to use explosive rounds and Firefly because you tend to just cause fireworks everywhere.
Yeah.
Sure.
It's amazing, especially if you're good with hand cannons. You can just pop precision after precision.
There was a while when I was using the last word for the quest. I got really good with using it.
Yeah, but it's a little bit different of a gun because last word's kind of like a short-range shotgun.
Yeah. This
thing.
one's more of a precision one,
Which I
which
guess
is what I noticed. If I
all
took
shotguns.
time to line up my shots, I got kills pretty quickly. I couldn't 4-shot fucking yellow bars like you guys can.
That's
Well,
just because I've been using
But
Ace
that's
of
the thing
Spades for
is,
so long.
I can't hit the precision shots at all with precision weapons. I get more precision hits with auto rifles than anything else.
That I imagine is just because of the kick. You're used to it just kind of lines you up. All you got to do is center it, and then it lines you up.
It's one of those where it's once you learn it, it just has a really smooth rate of fire where when you're on, you can stay on with that gun, and that's what I love about it.
And that's what I loved about Ace of Spades.
Yeah.
I'm just glad I can use it on my Titan now.
Did you
Because
ever
my
get
Titan
a-
always needed one.
Did you get a legendary version of Fatebringer yet?
Yes,
Okay.
I got both.
I haven't gotten a legendary yet, so I'm stuck with the exotic. I actually got 2 exotic Fatebringers.
That kind of sucks, actually.
Yeah.
I still want the epilogue. That is what I want. That is the one gun I want to walk away from Vault of Glass.
It's really good. It's not, I wouldn't say it's the best assault rifle because the one thing that Epilogue has always had against it is it has really bad range. So you can't do much with it once it starts getting a little
To
far
be
out.
fair, auto rifles aren't used for long range like a pulse rifle. You use
And that's a good point.
and that design of auto rifle, that high rate of fire, high ammo capacity, low impact. You use that for getting up close and personal with somebody.
Oh yeah, it's if you're within range, it'll shred anything.
Yep. It's designed like the Doctrine of Passing. It's that style of gun where Doctrine's a bitch in mid to very short range. Long range, you're fucking screwed.
There are assault rifles though that are decent at range.
Monte Carlo is badass at range.
Yeah,
But
and those are the ones that I more so prefer. I should.
see, I love the Monte Carlo. That is my all-time favorite gun in Destiny.
See, you say you're not a big fan of hand cannons. I hate auto rifles. I just can't ever use them like I want. They're so against my playstyle.
But see, that's the whole thing. Is your team sniper? You like long range, putting a lot of distance between you and an enemy.
Well, not always, because I do like hand cannons.
Yeah.
So I don't mind the up close game. I prefer precision though. I'm okay waiting on my shots, which is why I prefer generally scout rifles and slow fire pulse rifles.
Yeah.
And then hand cannons. I like just the patience and precision involved. All this chaos happening around you, and you're just calmly landing your shots. To me, that's just the coolest feeling in the world.
I like running into a
That's what I
place,
love.
dropping a thunder strike, and then just frying everything around me.
Yeah, and that's the weird part. So I will be nice and precise with all my Fatebringer shots, and then Striker Slam.
That panic button.
So
I do them all.
I know we have at least one more run to do this week.
I want to do it at least. I want to get Atheon knocked out because I want to get all the exotics. So I want to get that Atheon challenge knocked out if
On
possible.
both of your characters?
Preferably.
Because I know we still have to bring...
We still have friends that have to run with us.
Yeah, we still have friends, and I know William wants to run it on his alt.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the nice thing is, even if we don't do the Atheon challenge, it's not a... It really isn't a hard raid.
No, the raid itself
Without
is actually pretty
Atheon
easy.
challenge, we knocked out the normal raid an hour and a half.
Oh, yeah. And now that people are starting to get guns that are designed for it and make it easier.
Fucking Oracle Shredders. I love it.
Yeah. God damn, that made life easier.
Yeah, once I got that timepiece, just... You knocked out the fucking Oracles left and right. It was fantastic.
Well, yeah, that was... I was using Fatebringer in the Atheon fight, taking out the Oracles. It's three to four shots, and Oracle is down.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like, oh, my God, this is amazing.
It's just... It makes it so that it's kind of a... momentum build where once you start winning at Vault, you just keep winning at Vault.
Yeah, which I don't generally like. But
No, I mean, it's... While I don't like when they make it where the stuff you need to win, you get by doing the thing you're trying to beat, it is doable without that stuff, so it just makes repeat runs easier, which that I'm perfectly fine with.
Like, remember when we first started running Oryx, and if you didn't have Touch of Malice, we were all screwed?
It was a hard fight.
It was
then
a
when
hard
you had-
fight without Touch of Malice, but then once we all started leveling up and getting higher level stuff, we didn't need it.
Well, I was gonna try and counter that with, well, you didn't get Touch of Malice in the raid specifically, but you do have to run the raid to get it.
Yeah,
So,
and that was one where I'd
Okay.
say they found the balance. Like, Crota, in my opinion, was the worst of that, where if you got to the highest level you could get to without running the raid, you could not beat Crota. It was not possible in the time limit. You had to run the first part of the raid a couple times to get gear so that you were a high enough level to beat the final boss.
yeah, that was just part of the year one balancing issues. More so than Crota itself. That was a general balancing issue from the whole game.
Didn't they have their light completely different year one than it was year two?
Somewhat similar to how it is right now, but it was much more akin to like an actual level than a gear level. So it was basically, instead of being where it's like we're level 420 even though our characters are 40, you would get light that would take you from level 20 to level 25. So it was much bigger returns.
Your light level would increase, and then once you hit a certain point, your actual level would increase. So you wanted to build your light so that you could level yourself up. It was overly complicated, and that's why I didn't bother with much of it in year one.
Right.
Because I didn't care to do much of the in-game stuff. It was all team stuff anyway. I didn't have anyone to play with.
You were on PlayStation. You and I were broken up. He was on Xbox. I don't know what to tell you.
I need better friends.
Well, that's rude.
That's what the internet is for.
See, I'm still not comfortable going and finding an LFG group.
It's weird because
LFG is just a pit of hate at this point, sadly.
well, it's always been a rough place, and it's such a love-hate relationship because so many times if you find just a random person, they're not going to be as good as the people you know. You're not going to have that chemistry. So you're setting yourself up for a challenge. But at the same time, and what I always try and stress is, most of the people that we run with, we met on LFG.
False.
Not us, because we know
ran
the
with one of
group
my
and-
friends who I met through work, and then we found his people through him.
That's fair. A lot of the people I ran with before y'all hopped on,
Your people were LFG.
I met through LFG. And, I mean, y'all know they're not bad players. But it took a lot of LFG to build those groups.
And we have found, on our own, we found some pretty good people through LFG.
Yeah, your favorite
But
battle
it's-
buddy.
He's not anymore, though.
He doesn't. Yeah.
He doesn't
Which I just
He
want to
doesn't give
point
two
out.
shits about me anymore.
Your battle buddy abandoned you?
Fuck him.
I enjoy playing with him. His friends, not so much.
Nah, his friends are pretty annoying.
Well, friends of friends
But-
are always a weird scenario.
Yeah. They're used to one way, we're used to another, so it's just a conflict of interest.
You don't get the inside jokes. It's just...
We have our niche. It's fine. I'm more excited for Oryx next week because we know how to do the challenge modes. They're not going to change those at all. We know
That we know of.
They're probably not going to.
They're not going to. They said that the one raid they did not touch, if any, even if they did, they probably just bumped all the levels. They didn't touch Oryx almost at all.
Okay, that's fair. I mean, it was a very well-made raid.
It was a very well-made raid. I mean...
And jumping puzzles.
And the jumping puzzles.
I cannot wait to do those again.
I got so good at doing those.
I'm going to fucking race Evan.
Oh, you can try.
Challenge is on. I beat him to the vault.
I just love that y'all now
do
get...
it.
I just love that we brought back the honorary Gator Award.
What do you mean honorary? Steven will have it. The Dammit brothers have the goddamn Gator Award.
Yeah, but it's still called the Gator
Award.
Award. It's still the Gator Award.
Which brother gets it this week? So I'm more excited. I wish that Vault was a little bit more rewarding with the drops. They're quite a lot. There's way more drops than Crota. I just wish they were more rewarding.
Well, I think it evens out to about the same number. I just like that they're giving drops instead of just, you might get one thing this week from your run. Maybe.
That's pretty much how my Atheon fight was. Well, no, I got lots of guns. I have guns out the ass.
You may not get the stuff you want, but you'll get stuff.
When they said that they were going to make this generous as heck, they did.
Weren't lying.
They held up that promise very well. I'm glad I don't have to run through the raid 20 times to get the one thing I want.
Yeah.
More than likely 2 or 3 runs, and I'll get it if I do everything.
Yeah. On the first week of Crota, just from us running it a couple times, I got every single exotic.
Yeah, 2 runs for me, I got all 4 exotics.
I think that's how they set it up, because from what I'm hearing, everybody ran Crota twice on each character. They got all 4 exotics. People who have run Atheon challenge mode on 2 characters, they got all 4 exotics. I think it gives you an exotic you don't have.
Or a very good chance.
Or guarantee that, because I've only gotten 2 exotic Fatebringers. So...
But you did really want Fatebringer.
I did.
So maybe the game
wanted
picked up on that.
So, I don't know. I wish they were more... I wish they would give you more of the Knuckles of AO. I get the whole point, but I wish instead of it was once per account, it should be once per character.
I can honestly... Yeah, I can kind of agree with you on that.
Because like last night, I really wanted to use one of my Knuckles for my Titan. But at the same time, I was like, I want to save this one, so I have an extra one for Oryx.
Because you want to guarantee more drops from Oryx?
Yes.
Yeah, because I wish it was 1 per character.
Because if they keep the loot tables the same in Oryx as it has been in the past, which I'm fairly certain they are, you get LMG, rockets, and sniper after the War Priest.
I don't think they're going to keep those the same because they've changed the others so far.
They're keeping Axis the same, I know that much, so why wouldn't they keep Oryx?
I don't know that they're keeping Axis the same.
Axis.
Well, I've so far only seen Atheon drop the helmet, so I think there's some semblances of the original loot tables. I think they've just shuffled them up a little bit.
Yeah,
and I would prefer them to be shuffled because I didn't like how they're laid out anyway.
Yeah, because for Atheon and Crota, you can only get the helmet, the shader, the sparrows, all of that crap you normally get for beating that final boss. You only still get it there.
I'm fine with the shaders and sparrows and all that.
You only get the Mytho class for killing Atheon.
But those are more like, you beat the raid, here's your rewards.
Not necessarily you beat this boss.
Yeah.
But the helmet?
The helmet
was part of beating the boss. That I would tie in. But the shader ship and that kind of bonus stuff like that, I would tie more as just, you beat the raid, cool. Here's some reward.
So, but like after Totems and Oryx is when we would get the Ghost. Are you saying we should get the Oryx Ghost after we beat Oryx?
Things that don't affect your light.
Get it after Totems.
I think we should get it after Oryx.
Well, I'd say anything that affects
dumb?
your light, you should be able to get before the final boss. Anything that doesn't, I'm okay with being locked behind the final boss or the raid exotic, the one item that's for the raid.
That is, I will actually agree with that because I was thinking of Ghost Shells is just cosmetic. I forget they have light. So, never mind.
That was always my whole complaint is just, oh, how do I get to a high enough level to beat this boss? Beat this boss. I mean, it's...
Well, very clearly that thinking is out the window.
Yeah.
We'll find out how Oryx is done next week. I'm super excited. I really am.
Yeah, this will be the first one that we're going into with like everyone knowing
everyone knows what's going on, yeah.
And I feel like we will breeze through this one. Well, I'm sure we'll be able to run it with alts in maybe 4 hours.
I want to knock it all out twice on Tuesday.
I'm looking forward to the 30-minute runs again.
It's gonna happen. That was always the most impressive thing. Was the one time I ran with, it was you and then your buddies, and then it was me.
Steve was here.
It was a well-oiled machine.
No, you weren't in that one.
I was in that one for Oryx. I was.
No,
The 30-minute run.
This was, we did the entire raid almost flawlessly. I think only 1 or 2 people died at any point, and actually I think it was in jumping puzzles. I don't think it was even in a fight. We made it through the whole thing in like 30 minutes. We're like, how the
I think Steve
fuck
was
did this
there.
happen?
Yeah.
I was there.
I didn't think so. I thought it was one that you weren't in.
I was
That's
there.
2 years of building LFG groups. You get the good people.
Maybe you
after
were in
time.
there and I just don't remember.
I was there. I remember that one because I was
That
impressed.
was insane.
I will say, you know what the one issue is with LFG that I have is, I'm actually okay with the people who are not good being on there because everyone starts somewhere and you have to be bad before you can be good. It's the elitism that I think is what kills LFG groups.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you're going to be a newbie on LFG, learn to work with whatever team you're joining. Don't just hop in and say, look, I'm a new guy, but I know all this stuff. It's like,
Yeah, that was
yeah,
always,
but you're with a team.
that was always my
Let the team
complaint
do
was
it.
people would join and be like, who needs to know the fight? Oh, I know it. We'd start. Do you know what to do? No. I just said I know it because I didn't want to get kicked.
Yeah.
It's like,
All right, dude, come on. Be honest. We'll work with you.
we're not that
But-
team.
Again, that's also because they're probably used to the hatefulness of most groups on LFG.
Oh, yeah.
I say most, a chunk of people, probably not most.
I experienced a lot of it when finding random groups because I've been on both sides of the LFG, picking people up and being picked up.
Yeah, that's why I don't do that shit.
We have our group. We have more than enough people who are wanting to run.
We got enough people that we piss people off on a regular basis to run raids, so we're good.
The joys of raiding. That's why I want the optional, just like super big raid.
Speaking of super big raids, weren't you gonna say something about Destiny 2?
Oh, just as we're kind
Nothing
of
to do with
moving,
raids. I'm just
as we're kind of moving closer to more announcements, I've been seeing some stuff pop up, just people kind of looking into the lore for potential avenues they could take for new things. I know we all were really hoping for another subclass. What would you think about another race?
actually on the subclass note, one new race would be great. We'll dive into that in a sec. On the new subclass note, they did in the synopsis for the game on a lot of sites, it lists that this Cabal leader has stripped you of your powers. So we're not going to have our powers again. And in fact, the way it words it, it's not a confirmation, but the way it words it makes it seem like we're going to have to discover new abilities on unexplored planets in the solar system.
I'm cool with that.
They do specifically mention unexplored planets. I'm thinking Pluto.
I want to go to Pluto.
I know it's not a planet. Just give me this.
Are we gonna have ice powers?
Dwarf planet.
Does Steve get to play with ice?
I don't care about ice. I care about Pluto because there be dragons.
I don't think they're going to change the elements that are going to be in the game because those core elements are kind of...
Borderlands did it.
Yeah, but...
But what if they
when was the last gun that you remember using slag? Really? You used slag for maybe a couple bosses because you had to.
Because that's what was there.
Yeah,
I don't remember what it
otherwise
was
you're
called,
using
but I had a
other shit.
pink gun that was slag, and I loved that gun.
I think they are perfectly fine. I like the trifecta of elements that they have right now.
I like if they keep those elements but add 2 or 3 extras.
No.
Why?
I want 3 because it's already complicated as shit.
Well, it depends on how they continue it. I mean, if it's a big, diverse open world and they change it up so that maybe instead of having where, like, fire's the only thing that breaks a fire shield, maybe give them a little bit different modifiers. So, like, ice slows, fire does tick damage, electric chains, stuff like that.
I'll do you one better. What if they give you your base 3, but they have 3 more optionals, and you have to pick one of the other ones for a 4th?
Oh, so you kind of combine?
I don't like that either.
Why?
So
Things
a
are
problem
staying
I
kind of
have,
complex.
yeah, I don't want Destiny to get too complex. It's easy for a shooter, especially with a shooter trying to do as much as Destiny is. It's easy for it to get overly complicated and super complex. Look at Halo 5.
Sure.
Or even Halo 4, which was nowhere near as bad as 5. When you just start layering things, like let's add more of these and more of this and more of this, it becomes so overly complicated that none of it fucking matters anymore.
Yeah.
And the gameplay becomes just a slog to get through. It's like, wait, hold on. I got to pick one of my 6 subclasses to level up. First off, you got to level them all up.
The other thing, too, is there's a lot of times when it's arc burn, and I really just want to run Golden Gun.
Yeah. I think keep it simple with the 3. Maybe if they want to swap one of them out or even swap all 3 out for 3 brand new abilities, fine. Keep it 3. I think 3 is a good small number that's manageable and still allows for a lot of customability.
I do hope that they... Oh, go ahead, Steve. Sorry.
I feel like they'll give us... They'll scrap Void, Arc, and Solar, and they'll give us 3 new ones. Because if we have to go find new abilities on these new planets, that means new areas, new elements, new things,
I can see them adding
subclasses.
I'd like the subclasses to move away from being element-centric.
Like, I can see them
I'd much rather have where you could have, like, an arc bubble.
No, I prefer the elements tied. It gives a certain distinction to each
what about this
subclass.
What about you have your 3 base elements? Because we still have all those abilities, but this guy strips them, quote unquote. What if we just evolved those abilities?
It does sound like...
So, like, if your
and I
arc
wouldn't be surprised if... I think you actually mentioned it last week. If they just give us the same abilities again, but we're going to have completely different perks, so they're going to play very differently.
And they'll probably add in more subclasses.
That I would be okay with. Don't know about adding more. I don't like that.
I want to see more supers.
I don't want leveling.
You know what? We'll find out what they're going to do in May.
I want to see more diverse supers.
May 18th.
I wouldn't mind them changing it.
They're all very, very diverse.
No, but I'm just...
All of the supers themselves are very diverse. Now, the grenades and perks are all very similar, but the supers themselves, no 2 supers are exactly alike.
True, but there was a very cool moment the first time that I got a Void Bow. I mean... The first time Titans discovered hammers was awesome. I want to have that experience again.
That's okay. Leave out my people. Fucker.
Yeah, the Stormcallers... Actually, the Stormcaller mission was a lot of fun.
That was
fair enough. I apologize. I did the Stormcaller mission like halfway through year 3.
That was one of the coolest ones, too. You walk out on this little giant metal pole. There's a thunderstorm going on around you, and it's just... Boom! You get struck by lightning.
I don't know. Walking up to the Sunforge on Mercury
that was pretty cool.
Amazing. But it sounds like... Just running off of this synopsis, it sounds like that may be the direction you're going for with all of your subclasses this time. It's not like, oh, you finished that subclass, cool, check that box, move on to the next. It's go and discover your 3 subclasses.
I get that. I just like to see some new ones too. If it's a new game, I want to see new stuff.
I want to see variations on what we have.
I
like that.
Kind of like with Fred said, I would like to see a healer class. This is the RPG Steve. I like to play the healer tank.
Yeah.
I want to see something, because the first question I asked you guys about Destiny is, which one's the healer? You guys were like, well, the Sunsinger kind of heals. He kind of helps out. He's a support. Kind of helped me pick my character. And I ended up with Tickle Fingers.
I can see, and this goes all the way back to like the beginning of the Destiny, I can see why they don't have a healer, because they really wanted to break the formula of the holy trinity of DPS, tank, healer, so that anyone could fit any role. Which I really like that fact.
Yeah. And to your Tickle Fingers, I picked a Titan because I wanted to be a super powerful... I wanted to be a tank. Instead, I drop a bubble and go hide. That's typically what I do.
You're a turtle.
Yeah,
you go
I'm
into
a fucking
your shell.
Turtle. And I stand up on my back legs and make a wall with my other Titan brethren. The Hunter's the only one that actually fits what I expected it to be.
I'm just... Yeah. Part of me wants new supers. I'd like to see my idea of the evolving supers. Like, it shifts and changes into something new. Like, it starts off as the base 3, but those 3 evolve and grow into a new ability.
I would just like to see the variations on the 3 that we get, and just different perks, different grenades, and I'd want them to work differently. Like the Titan, I don't know. I can't come up with something just on the spot. So but instead of a Titan Smash where I can just slam, they've got perks where you can... Or no, the hammers is a good example. You can throw your hammers, or there's a perk where you can actually hurl yourself through a group of enemies with a hammer.
That would be cool.
That's different variations already just with slight perk changes. Let's get a little more creative and expand that out. We could get some cool stuff.
Maybe I'm spoiled. I remember when the like extra supers, back when there was only 2, first leaked. The Hunter's the only one that stayed fairly close to what the leak showed. Originally, Titans were going to get a laser beam, where you just did a Kamehameha wave. And Warlocks were going to, at least if this leak was to be believed, which I don't think it ever got confirmed either way, Warlocks were actually going to get a very healer type thing where they basically killed a ton of stuff and then all the health went to the team.
See, that'd have been fucking awesome. If they'd have done that with arc, I killed an enemy and then I get arc blooms that go out to other people, that'd have been fucking cool.
That could be. Balancing wise, I think that would be an issue like when you start getting into Crucible. That's why I don't think healer's gonna fit into the Destiny ecosystem very well.
Fucking Trials.
No, all Crucible. This isn't just Trials.
There's ways you could make
Trials
it work.
people will fuck it up for the rest of us.
They will.
A Titan Bubble gives you an overshield, and that's kind of a type of healing.
But it doesn't. It's actually very weak. It's not a full overshield, and it doesn't last long. Once you're out of the bubble, it disappears pretty quick.
But you could see a thing where maybe like the Warlock pops his super, and all the damage he does heals people near him.
I could see something like that, where it gives you an overshield for a short period.
See,
just people nearby.
Sunsingers have that kind of ability where if I've got my Radiance going, I can. It helps charge everybody else's supers who are near me.
And Hunters even have the thing where if you kill a tethered person, anyone near you gets armor.
So,
is that a thing? I don't remember. I don't.
It's a Titan. Or not Titan. It's a tether perk. If I can speak here, good God, it's a tether perk that almost no one uses because the other ones are just so much better.
Oh, okay.
I think the one thing I want to see most is the helmets off in combat areas.
That'll be really fun.
If these planets are terraformed, why do we have to wear our helmet?
Well, we also have space technology.
We're going to unexplored planets.
Well,
invisible space helmet.
In Venus, like when you watch cutscenes, your character doesn't have a helmet.
But we are going to unexplored planets.
I'd actually be more okay.
No helmets.
In Destiny 2, we are going to unexplored planets, which
I'd
means
be
there is
more
no
okay
terraforming.
If it was like Mass Effect, where in certain areas, it just required you to have the helmet whether you had it selected on or off. Because that's what they did in Mass Effect, is if you were in an area that was no atmosphere, it just automatically put your helmet on.
I mean, that's essentially what they're doing now. It's just, if you go anywhere first person, you have your helmet on. If you're
but
in
we're
third
in
person...
atmosphere.
I'm explaining, it's exactly the same as what you just described. It's just a different reason.
But on Earth, we could take our helmets off and breathe. We do it in the cutscenes, like Steve says.
You're not understanding me. I'm saying on Earth, in the tower, when you're in third person, you can take your helmet off. When you go into first person, you have to have your helmet on. That's exactly like the idea of Mass Effect, except Mass Effect you can always be third person, so you can always see the difference.
I get his point.
I just want.
It's just different reasons for why you're having to have the helmet on.
And if you think about it, if you don't have a helmet on, you can't see your HUD. HUD stands for Heads Up Display.
HUD's Up Display?
Future.
HUD's Up Display.
Eye-based HUD.
Fuck that. No, I retract it. My idea doesn't make sense.
And I'm not speaking even lore-wise. I'm speaking strictly gameplay-wise.
I want the helmets
Yeah,
off.
the helmet explains.
I don't want it.
The helmet gives you a reason why you have a radar, why you can see your super. That explains why that's all there.
My character looks like a fucking animal. I don't want him to show his face.
Well, I do want them to allow you to change your character.
Oh, I called him a him? Sorry, I forgot it's a he or she. Fuck.
It's a she-bot, isn't it?
His
No.
hunter is... No, his hunter's a male. His titan's female.
My Titan's a female, human female.
Oh. I thought you were a robot.
My hunter is.
See, my warlock is a robot. Hunter's an awoken.
Well,
I do want to be able to at least change the... Like, I want to... Well, see, you're going to be able to import new characters, but I would also like to be able to go back and change the physical appearance of characters.
I would make this an explanation. I got it right here. Ready? This is how you can change your face. Big explosion, lots of fire, your face. Just hit with fire. It's burned, scarred, badly. Boom, new face. I'd be perfectly happy with that explanation.
your face is gone. My face is gone. More importantly, my face is gone.
I'm okay with this.
I loved that reveal trailer. It was great.
One other thing that I do want to touch on, what would y'all think of if they did start adding in other races that we're familiar with as potential guardians?
That's fine. I mean, it'd be a cosmetic thing, so it's not a big deal.
Well, unless they start making that matter a little bit.
If they make that matter, it's an issue.
Minor.
Like
No, it's an issue.
Like if Fallen gets certain abilities that we don't, I have an issue.
But they could easily do something where it's like, oh, humans have a default +5 to intellect at all times.
No, I don't like that idea. That's going a little too far into RPG.
Yeah, I was about to
for Destiny. I like Destiny. I like the way Destiny's set up because it's a shooter with a little bit of RPG mixed in this MMO style.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't want it to turn RPG.
I'd still like to see them add in new races, though. I want to see
fine.
new stuff for the new game.
And I know as much as you guys don't like to hear it, the community leaders do have some kind of a say in what's going on. Their opinions are being taken into consideration more so than the rest of the public.
Well, yeah, why wouldn't we want to hear that? That's
Because you guys don't like it when I bring stuff like that up. Like you guys say, well, no, they're just regular people. No.
I mean, as somebody who makes content on YouTube, I have no problem with that.
Because I know that I've kind of been watching Atheon's channel. He, Broman, T-Rex, Cheriona, Gunny. I can't remember who the other guy in there rated. They're all flying out to Bungie to talk about Destiny 2. And he said he couldn't talk about what they were going to talk about. He said that it just involved what Destiny 2 was going to be. That's all he could say.
Was this in a stream?
Huh?
Was this in a stream?
I mean,
You'll
that
have to
could
send me
also
that link.
just be
Huh?
early
You have to
press
send me
type
that
stuff.
link.
I'll have to go find the video.
Yeah, if you can find it for me.
But, I mean, it's good that they're taking advice from people who are leaders of the community because they can't ask everyone, and those community heads are the people who are kind of the boots on the ground.
As much as people, I mean, it's those 6 are, they have the highest view count still for any of the raids. When the
on
new
them.
raids launch, they get more viewers than anybody else. So I guess it's kind of smart for them in some aspects.
Well, Bungie's always big about listening to the community. Even back in Halo days, they would listen to major players in the Halo community in terms of tweaking this or that or getting ideas for future content. So it doesn't surprise me at all, especially now with the way these media influencers, which is what people call them, because they have an influence on
Through media.
what's going on.
Yeah. But in other news,
Oh, is that how we're going? All right.
So in other news, the Vex might be a playable race.
oh Jesus Christ, shut the hell up! Nobody asked you for your thoughts.
The Vex may be involved with the Scorpio though, because this tech is some future shit.
Hey, Fred did a clever.
Did I?
Fred made a clever.
Oh yeah. So the article you're pulling up, if you are not a techie, that is the most boring and confusing thing you will ever read.
So
It's made of parts.
All right, so I will try and pay attention. You're just gonna have to translate.
So the best thing you can do, actually, there's pictures along the way on
Okay.
stuff, and there's actually a graph if you want to go ahead and scroll down, or a chart. There
Aha!
it is.
Chart.
Just to help kind of compare different systems
okay.
to the Scorpio specs. So
I know CPU and GPU.
gonna run through some of this basically. I'm not gonna go through the details, but basically, the CPU is gonna be 8 custom x86 cores, which means it's gonna run a 64-bit processor instead
Okay.
of 32, which a lot of them are 32, at 2.3 gigahertz, which doesn't sound like much if you know computer stuff, but is impressive for a console. I think it's 30% faster than the current Xbox Ones.
Wow.
It's a much more powerful CPU.
Wow.
Good stuff.
It's
and
like-
it's even more powerful than the PS4 Pro, CPU-wise, is more
Yeah.
powerful.
By only 0.2 gigahertz, but
Well, 0.2 gigahertz is big.
okay.
That's essentially going from unclocked to overclocked on a CPU.
Sure.
Could be 2 points, 3 points.
That's like 200 megahertz, right?
Oh dear God.
So, I got nothing for you. The GPU, sorry, I'm going to get nerdy here. It's 6 teraflops, which is impressive if you know what a teraflop is. If you don't know, it's 4.6 times as powerful as the Xbox One.
It's fun to say. is
That's
what
what
it
you get
is.
when you leave a strip club, right? Teraflop.
It's fun to say.
It's a. That was a good one. I'll give you that one. Yeah, it's a lot more powerful of a GPU this time around than the Xbox
40
One.
customized compute units at 1172 megahertz.
Hold on, I'm gonna
It's a
adjust
lot.
myself for a sec because I don't have all the info written down, so I have to look at the graph too sometimes. What are you looking at?
GPU 40 customized. Customized looks spelled wrong.
I can't see it from here. Don't know.
CUSTOMISED. I thought it was ZED. I know I'm dyslexic, but
They're European.
I keep
That
hitting my
makes
mic
sense.
trying to turn and look at this screen.
okay.
I know it's kind of not working.
I don't like this because my dyslexia is fucking with my head right now. I know how to spell customized, and
It's spelled properly. Just
for
I mean,
them,
it's European. I think
Okay.
it's actually a British.
Yeah.
It's from Digital Foundry, by the way. All this comes from Digital Foundry, who got to go out to Redmond to the Microsoft campus and basically get an in-depth look at what the Scorpio is going to be, which is unprecedented for a new console.
You'll just have to deal with the lack of the Z.
Yes, the Z is not there.
Fucking commies. Okay, so we got a GPU that does things. That makes it pretty.
Yeah, super powerful GPU. Does a lot. I'll get into that in just a minute when we get... They actually got to see playtesting to see how all these numbers matter. Because, of course, the Digital Foundry guys, first off, I love them because they know their shit. They're looking at this and they're like, oh, amazing. For commoners, you can't tell until you see it. So we'll get into that.
Well, for translation, CPU and GPU is basically going to be your load times. Is probably the biggest part you're going to see that at.
No, way more than that.
I know that look. That was you're a dumbass look.
Yeah, CPU is your brain. That's
right.
It does all your physics calculations. It does all of your lighting
how
calculations.
fast everything can go.
That's not how load times work. Load time is based on your hard drive speeds. It's not how quickly it loads the assets. It's how well it can handle the assets.
I'm using the wrong words.
It's
but
so
I'm thinking the same thing, but I'm using the wrong
PC.
words.
Yeah, your CPU and your GPU make everything look so much better.
Yes, because you can render it so much faster.
He's
Yes.
so cute when he's trying to figure out PC.
The big thing with the CPU is it means things can run natively 4K. I'm going to get into that in a bit, but this is a powerful fucking system. Just to put it out there. RAM, 12 gigs of GDDR5 RAM. GDDR5 is not available for most computers, by the way.
I know what that means.
Which part?
The GDD. I know what that is. I'm sorry. A GDD R5.
I don't think you do.
I don't, but I know we talked about that stuff for my computer hard drives
It's very
or
different.
my things. So
It's different because GDDR5 is used more for more specific applications, whereas the DDR3, which actually the Xbox One has, you have DDR3 in your computer. That's more for
I have
general application.
I have 2 sticks of 4, right?
Yes.
Okay. So this thing has more fucking. No, this thing has as much RAM as my computer does.
No, your computer has 8 gigs.
The current
RAM.
Xbox One has as much as your computer.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what I meant. I'm sorry.
Yeah, this thing will have more RAM than my computer.
Oh fuck.
And it'll
RAM
be
is
more
basically
powerful
how much
RAM.
stuff it can do at once.
Now, what's the difference between
At the
DDR?
same time, yes.
What's the difference between DDR3 and GDDR5? Because the PS4 Pro does 8 gigabytes of DDR5.
Well,
That's
there's
a little
DDR
more-
and there's good DDR.
Yeah, there's
Shush.
DDR and then DDR Revolution, and then no, that's where we get super technical. So I'm not going to dive into that. But essentially, DDR3, because the Xbox One was originally built to be a multi-use system,
Yeah.
built basically like a computer, it needed RAM that can handle a bunch of different tasks.
Okay.
So that's where DDR3 comes in. GDDR5 is more specific.
Okay.
It's in a basic sense. That's not 100% correct. But
Sure.
That's what I'm going with. As well, the memory bandwidth is a lot bigger. So this is where I may get a little more technical. So this is the bandwidth that goes from the RAM to the CPU directly.
Okay.
It runs 12 individual buses of 32-bit, or it's 12 32-bit buses running from each piece of RAM, which gets you 326 gigabytes per second.
Strangely enough, I followed that train of thought.
It's super. Yeah, that I made it simpler, but yeah, it's the picture of this. Actually, they have a picture if you want to scroll down. It's kind of cool looking.
That's a lot of
Wrong
kids you
mouse.
can load onto a lot of buses to get them there.
Keep
very,
going.
very
That's
fast.
the new CPU.
That's pretty.
All those green lines are individual 32-bit buses running. Each of those little black squares is a piece of RAM, or is one stick of RAM. So that's kind of cool.
Here's the thing, and I know we're going to probably get to this. The more I keep hearing you talk about it has this much RAM, this many buses, this much of a CPU and a GPU, and the power brick is internal, how the hell does this thing not just turn into a sun?
I will get into that because they actually have the most complicated or the most advanced cooling system of any console
I
today.
expect me to turn the power button on and for it just to spontaneously like go into supernova.
You expect flames to come out the side like a roaring engine.
Yes.
Which would be amazing.
That's
Actually, it's got a vapor chamber cooling system, which is the same cooling system they use on the GTX graphics cards. because those run super, super hot. Not as hot as AMD, but they do run pretty hot. And so they have instead of just using circular fans to push things out, they've actually got channels of heated water. It's like heated water, kind of like a water cooling system, but in a different way. And that actually helps cool it.
It runs like a refrigeration cycle. I get it. Because refrigerant transfers as vapor, and when it comes back as a liquid. I get it. It makes sense.
Basically, that's pretty close.
It makes sense.
So apparently, this runs super quiet and super cool.
So they basically just flipped the 90s solution of an overheated computer inside out. Instead of putting it in the fridge, you put the fridge in it.
Yeah.
Pretty much. That's basically what it is. So I'm going to get a little technical just so I can maybe explain how this works to Skyler. Refrigerant moving from your outside unit to your inside house travels as a vapor that's cold.
It's a gas.
No, it travels as a vapor.
Okay, I guess
not a gas.
That's different.
When it returns back outside, that's where it returns as a gas and then transfers back into a liquid to go into the compressor. That's what basically they're doing, is they're taking that vapor and putting it through a rough cycle really quickly.
Okay.
Yeah, and actually, if anyone is interested to learn the exact details of every piece of this, read this article. Great article, super complex. There's a lot of big words, so heads up.
So the hard drive and the optical drive look pretty much the same across the board.
Yeah, I mean, those aren't super... I mean, it's going to be a terabyte hard drive. It is going to be a terabyte hard drive that is going to be a bit faster, so it can handle 4K a little better. But that's about it for hard drive.
Comes standard with a 4K...
The UHD Blu-ray, yeah.
Which is the same one that's in the Xbox One S.
Yes.
Okay. So really, because of the CPU, GPU, and all that other stuff, that's what's going to make the 4K look prettier on the Scorpio as opposed to the Xbox One S.
So I took notes afterwards of my impressions of what all that means. So let's summarize it. Essentially, 4K will be nothing to this thing. It can run. It'll be able to upscale all Xbox One games, both 900p and 1080p games, up to 4K natively.
Yeah, but what about my 8K? I want to see it in a higher resolution.
Then go see Guardians of the Galaxy 2. It's shot in 8K. Enjoy that. It's also shot on one of the more expensive cameras out there.
I also don't even think they have projectors for it yet in most theaters.
Cinemark does because they pay for that shit.
Actually, I think Alamo does. Alamo's got one of them.
Oh, do they have an 8K projector?
I don't know. I'd have to double check that. I think
they're expensive as hell.
I think that's the Georgia.
That was the Georgia. So yeah, this is going to be considerably more powerful than any console that's out yet. Like I said, the One and the 360 are going to run better. Frame rates are going to be higher. Load times are going to be lower. And the resolution will run natively at 4K. What's cool is things will run at 4K even if you're just running on a 1080p screen. Which means it's going to downscale to 1080, which is a lot better than games having separate modes based on what TV you have. So the PS4 Pro, if you don't know, has different modes. If you're running on a 4K TV, you can say, oh, I want 4K mode. Cool. Turn that on and the game runs whatever frame rate, 4K. This will say, I don't care what you have. We're going to run it at 4K.
And it'll just downgrade.
It's going to downgrade, but everything's going to look a lot crisper because it's running natively at 4K. It's just bringing it downward.
That's the nice thing about that is if you basically have the game set to run in different modes, you have to write programs to render it in each separate mode, which is why porting from one console to another or porting from one area to another doesn't always work as simple as just make it run on that.
Yeah. If you want an example of this, because I know you've mentioned before how having something run at 4K on a 1080 screen kind of throws you.
Sure.
Thinking about that's kind of weird. You can actually test this yourself if you want to find an image that's 1920 by 1080 and then try to blow it up to the same size as a 4K image and look at how blurry it is versus a 4K image that's shrunk down to the size of a 1080.
What are the aspect ratios for a 4K? Like it's 1920 by 1080 and then what's 4K?
It's
Do you know?
Something 2160. I can't remember.
I'll look it up.
It's 4 times the size of 1080. So
just 1920
by 1080 and then do it by 4.
Okay.
So they did a big test on Forza 6, actually. So they ran Forza kicks at... They ran Forza 6 at 4K 60 FPS And based on the... Actually, if you go down, they've got a picture of it. That's the cooling system, by the way.
Oh,
That's
fancy cooling system.
Yep, I was right. That's exactly how they're doing it. That's
a very big cooling system.
That is a
That's blown up so you can see it.
Believe it or not.
Okay.
This
Yeah.
right, this right here looks like the evaporator.
Again, they have plenty of details in this article if you want to dive into it. There's the picture.
Shit.
So that's Forza 6 running essentially at ultra settings on the PC version, but it's running 4K, 60 frames per second, and they've actually got measurements saying how much CPU power, how much GPU power is being used. It used about 60% of its power, like 60 to 60, I think it was 60 to 65%.
Holy shit.
To run it at 4K 60 FPS. For comparison, for those of you who like numbers, Xbox One can run it at 1080p 60 FPS using about 90% of its power load.
Wow.
So that's a significant boost.
That car looks more real than my car.
I know. My car looks shittier than that.
Yeah, that also
That
might
picture
be
looks
helping.
better than my car.
Wow.
So this thing will do a lot.
Now, see, here's something that I'm curious about. Because it's such a powerful system and it's so much more powerful than its competition right now, do you think that they're intending this power to attach a VR headset with it?
Well, they have said from the get-go that the system will be VR ready. And they did mention, in the technical side of things, they did mention that they have, I believe they have a audio codec and a video codec built in to handle VR, specifically the HoloLens, but handle VR.
That'll be a good way of doing that because, I mean, granted, right now, the best way to do VR is with cable.
Yeah.
You can do it wireless, but it's not going to be as clear or responsive.
No, it's probably... Well, the HoloLens is trying to be wireless. I do
can
know that
maybe
for sure.
see HoloLens doing
Was
it.
the HoloLens the one they showed off at E3 when they were doing Minecraft?
Yes, that's
Okay.
Microsoft's AR headset. It's not VR, it's AR. But you can play games on it and stuff.
I liked that whole idea how they had with Minecraft, how you looked at the table, the whole world pops up, you can scroll around, look, and see every people. It was like a god mode.
Yeah, and that was just one example of what the tech could do, not necessarily what they're going to do with Minecraft.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can do some cool shit.
Oh, yeah. My big thing is the second that HoloLens works, I want an RTS and HoloLens. I want to be
That
able to
would
turn
be
my
amazing.
table into a battlefield.
I would play the shit out of that. Give me Civ on a Risk board.
That would be fun.
That would be amazing.
Could you imagine how much fun we could have with Halo Wars with that?
Oh, yeah.
That would be fucking great. Just point and click.
At least with the way they were showing HoloLens before, the whole way it worked was off of QR codes. And it would basically read the QR code and then measure the dimensions around that.
Yeah, and I think they're trying to stray away from the QR code to where it can just handle all that processing itself. Because some of the
That
tech
would be
demos,
even more incredible.
a lot of the tech demos they're showing is it'll be incorporated with your computer, with your Windows 10 PC, and you'll be able to take a 3D render from, say, AutoCAD, pull it into the world, and then walk around it yourself to see more detail on the render.
That would be freaking cool.
I remember they showed that with like a mechanic, like a motorcycle mechanic, where he just broke apart his. Why can't I talk?
Oh,
God
you're
damn
talking
it.
about like the E3 one they did a couple years back.
I don't remember if it was at E3. I know this was just like a example, like this is what we're shooting for. But he could break apart his motorcycle and then break apart the engine to find what was wrong with it. Stuff like that. Through analysis machines and all that. Through his tools, he's able to break it down. That kind of thing. I know they're looking to do some crazy shit with HoloLens.
Sure.
To make it
HoloLens
more than
is-
just a gaming thing.
Well, I mean, a lot of people say VR is really the next big step. I think augmented reality is going to be like the direction we go.
I think augmented is, VR is just a stepping stone to get there.
Yeah.
I feel. But before we dive off into any of that, a couple more things they did specify. Game DVR will still be there, and it's going to record natively at 4K 60 FPS.
Wow.
So of that 12 gigabytes of RAM, they're actually going to save 4 gigs for the operating system. Part of that's going to be so that you can actually, almost like the Elgato system where it saves
Yeah.
some footage, you can go back and save.
That'll be really nice.
And you can actually go back frame by frame to capture screenshots. So instead of trying to take a picture at the exact right time, you can just film it and then go back frame by frame and find the shot you wanted.
That's pretty nice.
Question.
For me is awesome.
Question.
What's up?
Question. Is it still going to be the whole household console like the Xbox One is?
It's going to have all the same functionality as Xbox One currently.
Okay.
But
So-
this one is built towards gaming.
So if I wanted to watch a 4K movie on my fancy 4K TV or stream Netflix on the fancy 4K TV,
That'll all be there.
I can do all that.
In fact, like you said, the optical drive is a UHD Blu-ray player.
So
So-
the lady could still use it.
Yep, it's
Yes.
still fully
Okay.
functional. It still does cable TV. It still does all that.
Okay, cool.
And in fact, the back of it, they said, is almost the exact same layout as the current Xbox One S.
Oh, wow.
So it's not going to have the Kinect adapter, but it's going to have everything else there.
Okay. I guess Microsoft's finally kind of getting away from Kinect.
Well, if they move towards HoloLens, I mean, in theory, that's the next Kinect.
And it's not like the Kinect did very well. There's not a whole lot of things using it.
That's true. Because now we have Cortana.
And the final big thing is this system is likely 6 months from release. They said that it is way ahead of schedule and that it is potentially launchable within the next 6 months.
So October.
Yeah, we'd be looking at a holiday release.
See, ahead of schedule is always a double-edged sword because that's usually a sign that everything's been going super well, but it's also just as much a sign that they've probably missed something.
Reading through the article, Digital Foundry kept reiterating that all the promises they've made so far with the system have come true. Now, if there's other things that maybe they're skipping out on that they haven't announced, maybe. I don't know how. We don't have every detail. But all their promises have come true so far.
I'm still excited for it. I just want to get more look at it.
I have a feeling we're going to see a pre-E3 conference like we all theorized. We're going to see a big pre-E3 conference. This is the official name. This is exactly what it can do. This is every detail you want. E3, they're going to show off, reiterate, hey, this is what it is. This is what it can do. Here's all of the cool stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
On that,
it'd be really smart of them to show off, like, this is a good technical look at it, but it'd be really good of them to show off at, like, a conference, a more consumer-friendly look at it, of here's it in 4K, here's it running this game that here's it running all this, so that at E3, like Steve is saying, they can just say, and here's super beautiful Halo 6, and here's super beautiful next Elder Scrolls in, here's super beautiful this.
Yeah, here's the stuff.
So that come E3, everyone's already, instead of saying, what is this? They already go, damn, now I want this.
so on that, they're at the end of this, they mention that you're not going to actually see the system. They've already seen what the system will look like, but you're not going to be able to see what the system looks like until E3. Now, I don't know if they're just speaking in general terms, like the E3 area of time, or if they meant specifically at E3 is when we're going to see it for the first time.
This could also be why they moved their conference to, what was it, Sunday morning? Yeah, they're Sunday morning now.
Yeah, they wanted to be first.
So
that was
maybe-
more of a business decision.
So
Well-
maybe this, with the super hype train they've got, with this release of the article, with everything that Microsoft's been hyping up the Scorpio to be, this could be huge for them.
You know what it could
oh,
be?
it's going to be a new console.
This could honestly put Microsoft back on top of the console ladder.
Microsoft has actually been growing. So PS4 has slowly started to lose ground to Xbox in the last couple of years. In fact, there's been a number of months where Xbox outsold PlayStation.
We should qualify, though, the initial launch of the PS4, PlayStation still, I play on Xbox, but I still have to acknowledge this, they're way above where Xbox is at currently in terms of units moved and all that.
Overall units, PlayStation's still winning, but overall sold units isn't as big of a deal as units month to month, because that's where you see trends developing.
Okay.
And we've seen not a consistent trend, but Xbox does outsell PlayStation at various points throughout the year, which it hasn't for the first year or so of its life.
Right.
In fact, it wasn't coming close.
Basically, PlayStation won the blitzkrieg, but Microsoft is winning the slow offensive.
They're winning the war.
I think it's a little early to call that, but
It's more that I think Phil Spencer has done so much to fix Xbox's image.
I will say, Xbox's image is in a much better place. I mean, towards the end of 360, a lot of people were really shit talking the 360.
Well, I mean, when you have such a catastrophe as the Red Ring of Death.
Yeah, but that hadn't been an issue at that point for 4 or 5 years.
But people still knew about it. People still referred to it. People still talked about it. That was the one downfall of the 360. Was, why don't you get a 360? Red Ring of Death. Well, they don't have those anymore. Doesn't matter. I mean, people still had that bad taste in their mouth.
I didn't hear a whole lot of shit talk on 360.
Well,
I did hear a lot of shit talk on Xbox One for its
specifically
announcement.
when people started moving to Xbox One, I guess is what I should say, is that's where a lot of people kind of jumped from one to the other.
Yeah, I mean, I did. I originally started on PS4.
As did I.
Because it was a much better system.
As did I. Plus, when Microsoft had all those announcements of, oh, we're only doing digital games, I think that was mostly just undercover Sony people spreading lies.
No, that was Microsoft making official announcements.
Oh, was that?
Yeah.
Okay.
No,
They're
it all
not
was.
that bad.
And they've had to... That's why I say Phil Spencer has done such a great job at fixing the brand. The initial announcement of the Xbox One was horrible. And everyone knew it. And that's why people didn't have a lot of confidence when it actually launched, even though they said, oh, we changed all these things, we made it better. It wasn't until Phil Spencer proved that, hey, look at these things that we've done, that people started to jump on board. And that's why Microsoft has grown, whereas Sony has actually failed on a lot of their promises.
Yeah.
And is slowly losing ground.
Well, the one thing we've always seen is Sony has a good launch with their stuff. They don't improve it very well over its lifespan. It kind of comes out as a really good thing, stays a really good thing, but it doesn't really get any better.
I am really curious now that Scorpio is right around the corner. I wonder what Sony's response is going to be.
Or do they even need to have a response? I mean, we always joke the console wars, haha. We could actually start seeing Sony and Microsoft pairing up moving forward if we are, in theory, at the end of the console timeline, the end of the console era.
I see crossplay. I still see them being quote-unquote mortal enemies.
Well,
But
even with crossplay, Rocket League has been trying to get Sony to agree for over a year now.
And what's to keep Sony from saying, you know what? Instead of making a competing system, we're now going to make parts for your system. And we get part of the profit.
Well, it could be. I mean, it could be that one company gives up and helps strengthen the other company. I don't see that happening since they are both powerhouse developers. I mean, you're not going to see that happen, I don't think. I think it's going to be more of an arms race since we're doing these iterative consoles. Microsoft's got their big Scorpio announcement. Maybe Sony teases their next big console upgrade this year or even next year.
That really? This soon after the PS4 Pro?
The Pro wasn't really a big upgrade.
From the PS4,
but they pitched the Pro as
No.
the Scorpion competitor.
Yeah, that was the thing.
No, people did that. Sony never did. Sony never compared.
Well, okay.
And if anything, the Pro is comparable to an Xbox One S. It does roughly the same thing, except the Pro is slightly more powerful than the S.
That's fair, but because they never really did anything to quell people's comparisons, that kind of is now the status quo. Whether Sony intended it or not, it's the competitor to Scorpio.
I don't see very many people comparing that.
So to explain his analogy, because that kind of went over my head until my slow brain processed it, it's like withholding the truth. It's not lying, but it's still not telling the truth. With the comparison to the Pro being the competitor to the Scorpio. Sony never said, no, it's not, but they just kind of let it happen, but they never came out and said it's not.
I more so just was referring to the fact that history is written by the popular majority.
Actually, it's written by an old guy named Dave.
I mean, before the PS4 launched, yeah, I did see a lot of comparisons to the Scorpio because people had that assumption. But now that it's out, anything I see about it has been the PS4 and the Xbox One S. So it's always been comparing those two.
Okay. I can agree with that.
Now, the PS4 Pro currently is the most powerful console because it is slightly more powerful than the One S. But it's not. No, I mean, it doesn't compare to what the Scorpio is promising.
I do feel, because of the way they pitched it, if Sony tried to say, hey, in a year or two, we're going to have another PlayStation out in response to Scorpio, a lot of people would be really upset feeling like they're just nickel and diming them after the Pro.
Well, why? I mean, do you feel that way about the Scorpio right now? Because they announced the Xbox One S and the Scorpio at the same time, saying that they would be out roughly a year apart.
Right, but because they announced them at the same time, a lot of people went into it as, oh, Scorpio's the new thing, S is to tide you over. There was a big push that PlayStation 4 is the next PlayStation. That it's basically if you want like the new PlayStation VR and all that, they really pushed move to PlayStation 4 as the new console.
Again, you're saying they is the people. They is the populace, not Sony. Because again, Sony didn't market this as a competitor to the Scorpio, because the Scorpio, no one knew anything about it.
No, but Sony
they
also
compared it to the Xbox One S, though.
They announced PS4 Pro before Xbox One S was ever confirmed.
They did.
That was the thing. They announced it when Scorpio was still kind of the rumored thing.
Now we're just teaming on speculation and acquisitions.
Well, my look at it is
that's the wrong word.
PS4 Pro was pitched as Sony's next console.
Which the Xbox One was also, or the S was also pitched as the next console.
I feel like the S though was pitched as an in-between console because Scorpio was already a thing by the time the S was announced. It was kind of like the Xbox E or 360E.
Well, I do see what you're saying. It felt like the Scorpio was the next big announcement. The S was just a slight upgrade versus the PS4 Pro was announced, but no other console has been announced yet.
Right. So the PS4 Pro is the new big Sony console, whereas Scorpio is the new big console. Xbox One S is like the 360E. Yeah, the Xbox One is coming out. We're releasing a new 360 like a month before if you want a new 360.
I do see your argument, but power-wise, it doesn't make sense. Based on its capabilities, even on a general consumer level, they're not comparable. Therefore, I don't think it would be much of an issue if Sony had announced, maybe not this year, but next year announced, hey, we're going to have this new iteration coming out.
I feel like because of how recent the PS4 Pro is, and because that it's currently labeled as the new Sony console,
because
them announcing a new console so soon to that would cause a lot of public backlash.
But the Xbox One S is also labeled as the new Microsoft console, and yet they've got the Scorpio coming out this year.
But they already announced the Scorpio when the S was announced. We're kind of just repeating ourselves at this point. But
I'd like to weigh in here. Banana bread.
All right.
Exactly.
So I think it would actually be a very smart move for Sony to announce their competitor to the Scorpio.
If they have one.
If they have one, they may not have one.
They may not.
They probably do. If anything, it would just be a later. In fact, there's already been rumors about a PS5 because people want to assume it's always the next big console. It's like, no, we're doing iterations. Keep that in mind.
I just feel like there'll be a lot of public backlash of a new console so soon because of how big of a push there was, at least in the public eye, to go to PS4.
I just don't see it.
Question. I did see something that Phil Spencer came out and said on Twitter, or it was an article from Game Rant on Twitter. People don't want upgradable consoles. How do you feel about those? If you could just have a console and then just upgrade it periodically.
That is Microsoft's exact strategy right now.
Yeah,
that is exactly what they've been pushing since the Scorpio was announced.
People want a console because they don't want a PC. And a PC is really just an upgradable console.
This is the same argument that we had actually when the Scorpio was announced. It's the exact same thing. Do we like iterative consoles or not? It's like, well, it doesn't matter. I mean, that's what they're doing.
They've been doing it.
Yeah, I mean, we're already at the start of that happening.
Like, if you could buy one console and then just upgrade it as you went, would that be...
Are you saying upgrade parts?
Yes. That's what it was, is upgrade parts.
Oh, that's different. That's not iterative.
I'm sorry, I didn't make it clear. The article was about people don't want an upgradable console, as in they don't want to have to plug and play parts like a computer.
Well, that makes sense.
I mean,
I don't think anyone's doing that, though. I don't. No. That doesn't seem like a smart move for any console manufacturer.
That's what. Yeah, the article was against it. And even Phil Spencer said, "Yeah, this is not what we're doing. This is not what we're ever going to do."
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that just doesn't make sense from a business perspective. You can't treat these like computers. They're a very different market. So yeah, that's the Scorpio tech.
I like this picture. That's my favorite picture on this website.
That's a pretty good one.
It's just so pretty.
I will say, I want to go back to something Steve mentioned earlier because it gave me an idea.
Oh, God. If I'm giving him ideas, we're screwed.
So Microsoft moved their presentation up to be at the front this year at E3.
Yeah.
We still don't know if they're going to do a pre-show for Scorpio.
Right.
What if their plan is, instead of doing a pre-show for Scorpio, Microsoft conference is 100% about Scorpio. And because they have the follow-up conferences that go over like Bethesda, and then they have the offshoot conferences for the rest of the day, if Microsoft doesn't have any big first-party titles aside from their usual like Forza lineup that not too many people pay attention to, if they don't have another Halo or Gears of War to announce, what if they're waiting because Bethesda has something to announce, and Bethesda has always been in bed with Microsoft?
Okay, drop the Elder Scrolls 6. It ain't gonna happen.
I don't think Elder Scrolls 6 will happen.
But it could be another Bethesda announcement.
You saw his face,
there could be
though.
a big Bethesda announcement. Sure. I mean, they have a conference, which means they have announcements to make.
But what if we're going to see something from them? They have new IPs. We could be seeing potentially 4K Wolfenstein.
Yeah. I would be very surprised if any of the third parties didn't show off Scorpio-based games.
Maybe we'll see something about the new Red Dead on Scorpio.
No.
Why not?
We're going to see Red Dead so way sooner than that.
Rockstar hates doing E3. They never do it. And only a couple times have they actually done anything around E3 time. They usually just save it either before or after. So they just don't do E3. I don't think they've ever been shown at E3.
I still got fingers crossed for Kingdom Hearts 3.
It'll be there.
Supposedly.
I mean, it'll be there.
Supposedly.
It's gonna be released.
We heard it was going to be there last year. Never showed up.
Yeah, they've actually
Oh, because they had it at... sorry, Skyler. They had it at...
TGS?
TGS, yeah.
They've confirmed it's going to come in a dual pack with Half-Life 3.
That better be the first Scorpio announcement, right?
No, Kingdom Hearts 3 is tangible. We know for a fact there is a team working on it. Half-Life is dead. Move on. You're like the guy you're like the guy who's 60 years old and is still heartbroken that his dog died when he was 6 years old.
Oh, come on. That's something to be heartbroken over. I thought you were going to say that I'm still heartbroken the Confederate flag got taken down in town.
You're still heartbroken after 50... Like, I'm talking about, like, severe depression for 54 years.
It was a good dog.
Are you actually still hoping for a Half-Life? Or is it
No,
just
it's
kind
a
of
joke
back...
at this point.
Yeah, I figured.
I mean, if it happened, I'd be ecstatic like everyone else on the planet.
Still
but
never played a Half-Life game.
Some of the best first-person shooters ever made. In fact, they're the inspiration for BioShock, if you're interested.
they are good.
Maybe.
You get to beat the shit out of aliens with a crowbar.
Yeah. Or shoot them.
Or shoot them.
You can do that too.
I like the crowbar.
I am very curious about the announcements at E3. Since we know Scorpio is going to be a big part, they're probably going to have their first party titles. And I did want to mention, you said Forza 6, one of those things that people don't care about. You realize that's one of their pillar series, right?
Forza
Right, but they
one
never
of-
spend a ton of time on it at the conferences, aside from showing it and showing the graphics. Because
Do you not remember Forza 6 when they had the fucking blue Mustang come out of the ceiling and lower down onto the stage?
I did forget about that.
Yeah, and then how much time they spent on Forza Horizon 3? They spent a lot of time on that game. So
I mean, that didn't feel like they spent that much time. But then again, I also am not a racing person, so I might have just tuned out for those parts.
Yeah.
yeah, they spent a lot
okay.
of time on both 6 and Horizon 3, which I still want to play Horizon 3.
So then never mind.
There is a reason they used Forza 6 as their showcase for the Scorpio.
Oh, I still agree. Forza is probably the most beautiful game Microsoft puts out.
And it's one of the most stable engines in the world. What they run on.
I may not be a racing
Incredible.
person, but it is pretty.
It's great games. I like them.
Is Top Gear still helping them with it?
No, I think that fell out when the old Top Gear fell through. I think. I don't know. Maybe they've got American Top Gear doing it now.
No, you know what they're going to do? This is going to be their conference. I'm calling it now. They're going to
God.
show the Scorpio, and then Phil Fish is going to walk out, Fez 2, and leave.
Yeah, and then about 6 hours later, he's going to be complaining that people are unhappy of his announcement and his return to gaming.
What other random games that are never coming out can we say are going to be on Scorpio?
Peter Molyneux.
Scalebound? Oh, too
Scalebound.
soon?
Peter Molyneux did come out and say his next game will be teased soon. So we're going to see what kind of piece of shit he throws out.
Peter Molyneux.
Fable.
It took me a minute. I was, for some reason, thinking...
Fable 4 on Scorpio. That also.
That actually got shit canned so hard.
Which one?
No, Fable. What was it? The Fable Legends.
Fable Legends.
Fable Legends. Yeah.
This
That
is the
got shit
5v1
hard.
thing or 4v1 thing.
Banjo 3 also coming out.
Banjo Tree. No,
What was that, Skyler?
I don't know.
Sorry, I thought I heard an echo.
Leave the bad puns to me.
I'm playing on it.
All right. Yeah. Super excited for Scorpio. As a techie, reading this article was just fun. I spent 30 minutes. I didn't even realize I spent 30 minutes just staring at my phone reading this article.
Did
It
it
was
make
so
you pop a
good.
chub? Were you that excited?
No. I was very delicate. I was very.
Do
Zen?
you need a cooling system for reading this?
Yeah, you did.
vapor cooled system.
Heyo.
All right. Well, that's a show.
I miss Daniel.
He'll be back eventually.
We
He's
don't
got
need
shit
Daniel.
going on.
We can end a show without Daniel. We can do it.
Can we?
We'll Skype him in one day.
Amazon pedophile vans. Name of the episode.
Amazon rape vans.
I gotta do the sinking thing.
Don't we have to say bye?
Shut up.
It's all right. It's